Hey, church. I don't know about you, but these days can be a bit frustrating when you're trying to plan for the fall or even for the spring. There's a lot of ambiguity. Suzanne and I continue to have these conversations that sound more like computer programming using Boolean logic rather than conversations about the future. You know, if, then, else. Here's an example. If COVID is not continuing to climb, then we can go to the grocery store. Else, we'll continue to shop online. Although planning always has some form type of logic, I think there's never been a time that we've had to have a plan B. Because I'm a planner, this kind of throws me a little bit off balance. Waiting seems to be a recurring theme these days. Yet, in God's Word, we are often encouraged to patiently wait for God's direction, as well as for His rescue in the midst of our storms. And in that waiting, we are also reminded that God's timing is always perfect and always with a purpose, and that He is faithful to work in our life according to His perfect plan. But let's be honest, waiting is just hard. Even when we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, it's still just hard. Now, as I grow older and hopefully wiser, I've come to understand that God will always make His way clear. But I've also come to understand that His timing almost always requires more patience than I've been given. Now, when I gave my life to Jesus, He transformed me and He gave me the Spirit to dwell within me to produce fruit. And one of those fruit of the Spirit is patience. Because it's from the Spirit, it's supernatural. That means that I can't go out and manufacture some. I've never been able to go out to the shed or go to the store and get some patience. Yet, I know I've been given a certain measure of patience, but I sure need more. Those fruit of the Spirit can grow when we ask. And when we ask, it will be given to you. Seek and you will find, and knock and it will be open to you. Patience is just a request away. I commented to Suzanne yesterday that we are continually being trained and pulled by our environment to be impatient. Think about it. Our attention spans continue to get shorter and shorter. When we don't like where we are at any given moment, we can make a change, and you can buy an Instapot to cook your food at lightning speeds. Google gives you access to millions of searches in milliseconds, in the palm of your hand. Matter of fact, I actually searched for Instapot and the results brought back 519 million results in 0.56 seconds because they told me. Try it. You won't have to wait. Because of this training to get what we want now, we get naturally lulled into focusing on the temporal, and slowly, methodically, and what I believe is intentionally, we lose sight in the long game, the eternal. Here's what James 5, 7, and 8 says. It says, "Be patient then, brothers, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, and how patient he is for the autumn and spring rains. You too be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near." The Lord's coming is near. And that was written like nearly 2,000 years ago. Come on, near? Yet, notice that the farmer is waiting for things completely out of his control. He has done the work of plowing and the ground and the planting and the seed, and now he must wait for God to produce the crop. Honestly, I've actually stood out by my garden and wished for my tomatoes to come. It hadn't worked yet. It's out of my control. And that is how life can be, out of our control. A cancer diagnosis, a wayward child. Your AC goes out and you have no savings. Your spouse leaves you for another. You lose your job. What was that in Romans 8:28 promised? That in all things God works for the good of those who love Him? In the midst of our sorrow, I have good news. The crux of the gospel, that good news, is that no matter what your circumstances are today, if you've been saved by grace through faith in Jesus Christ, you can rest assured that He is at your side, directing your every step. Sometimes God's directions come way of outward events and changes you can see with our eyes. But often His direction comes in the form of inward changes and growth, such as more trust, more love, and more patience. Our work is to take each step he reveals and then wait for God to produce the crop as we love him with all our hearts. It's a process of becoming wholehearted followers of Jesus. I hope you have a great day today.